What's up, everybody? Welcome back to It Came from Beyond the Videostore Shelves, the podcast where you guys get to come along with me in the journey of watching every single unwatched movie in my massive VHS collection. And to get things going this week, we went all the way back to 1978 to check out this Canadian film, Rituals. And let's see, this is a embassy release on VHS that I have here. And let's see what some taglines are. It said, "Not since deliverance has the wilderness held so much terror." And also says, "There are many kinds of rituals, but there is only one that has no rules: survival." So this is one of those kind of hunted flicks, if you want to call it that, where you have people in the woods trying to hunt other people down. And I always heard really good things about this movie. It's one that I've wanted to watch for quite some time now, but I did not own a VHS copy until recently. And I typically don't stream movies or anything like that. I pretty much only watch what I have on tapes when it comes to movie content. Really, until I got to watch Rituals, kind of my favorite movie in this type of genre would be Surviving the Game with Ice Cube, which is a really fucking great movie. But Rituals gives Surviving the Game a run for its money, man. I really enjoyed this flick. So basically what Rituals is about is you have 5 doctors that are somewhat friends, and they come together to do this 6-day camping and hiking trip together, in the middle of fucking nowhere. So, they all meet up, and they're going to take this, plane ride out and get dropped off in this wilderness and just, kind of, I guess, relax and enjoy nature for a couple days. But that doesn't get to happen for these guys. These guys really do not enjoy their time, which we're going to get to that. But yeah, so the 5 guys, they'll meet up, and they're one of these doctors is trying to convince his fellow friends to go into this new business with him, this new medical clinic that he's wanting to create that does penis enlargements. So he's going to take his friends out on this camping trip and trying to convince them all to open this hospital that's gonna, allow guys to have huge, ginormous dicks through surgery. But so they open up with that, and some of these dudes aren't too into it, and others want to agree, and they're gonna get together and do this medical clinic. So anyway, they go out there. They hike for a little while. They set up, their first campsite, and everybody's having a great time, man. They're joking around. They're fucking, laughing, drinking, and everything's great. And they all go to bed. But when they wake up in the morning, that's when things kind of start getting weird. They wake up, from this night of partying, and all of their boots are gone. They all took their boots off, and they put them by the fire, and now none of them are there. So, they're thinking, man, somebody, who the fuck would want to steal, 5 pairs of hiking boots. And that's kind of when it starts getting fucked up. So one of these doctors, JD, decides that, he's going to go ahead, and there's some kind of hydro dam that's a couple of miles away from him. And he's thinking, these dams, it's generating electricity, that this thing isn't going to run by itself. There has to be at least one person at this dam to fucking control everything and make sure all the shit's running right. So he decides that he's gonna go off and he's gonna get to this dam. And he's gonna try to get help, or at least find some fucking shoes. And everybody else is just gonna hang out at the campsite until he gets back. So he hauls ass. The other guys are hanging out, and they're kind of I said that these guys were somewhat friends. They're obviously acquaintances, but there seems to be some tension in the group. There's some guys don't really get along with other guys too much. You could tell that they're all friends, but they're not like super friendly all the time. It's very tense in moments in this group. Anyway, JD leaves. He's gone. And then, the rest of the guys are hanging out. And, nightfall starts to approach on them. And they haven't heard from JD. JD's not back. So they're kind of worried a little bit. JD also has his brother with them, who was a doctor as well. So he's kind of like, where the fuck is my brother at? And all this shit. But, anyway, they going to sleep. When they wake up in the morning, they find a severed deer head on a stake right next to their campsite. And that's when they start fucking freaking out. And they kind of think, maybe JD is behind this. Maybe he's like pulling some fucking pranks on us and shit. Either way, they decide that they're not going to fucking hang around at this campsite. That they're going to go try to get to this dam and find JD and see what's going on. And, none of them fucking have boots. Even though they really don't do a good job capturing that on camera. Which, I get it. You don't want your actors to be walking around barefoot in the middle of the fucking woods. But it's obvious that they were wearing shoes in the movie. They didn't really hide it good. They wrapped like handkerchiefs and t-shirts around their feet to walk, which makes sense, but you can tell on film that they just wrapped the shit around their shoes, that they weren't barefoot. But that's really the only kind of, I wouldn't say bitch or gripe. It's just one of the little oddities in the film. It's obvious they all still had shoes on. But anyway, they set out to find JD and get some help and try to get out of here, because these guys were dropped off in the woods by this airplane, and it's not coming back for 6 days. So they have 6 days to make it in the wilderness alone, until their fucking guy comes back to pick them up. So, and this is only like fucking day 2, so they got a long stretch. So they're heading out, and they're just constantly dealing with just weird things that's going on. At one point they stop to check out scenery, and this huge fucking bee's nest falls on them. And there's fucking bees stinging them and shit, so they have to run, and they jump off this little cliff to get to an area of like a little ravine where they could jump in the water and get away from the bees and shit. But in doing so, one of these doctors ends up breaking his neck on the way down. So he's the first guy to die. And, they're all kind of fucking scrambling and shit. And they find out this dude died. And, one of the doctors thinks he saw a person whenever he was rolling down this cliff. That he's like, man, I kind of think I saw someone up there. And they're like, man, what the fuck? So they kind of regroup. They leave, they kind of get over the fact that one of their colleagues are dead. And they continue on their mission. And they get to this point to where they have to cross this stream. And they find this rope across the little river right there. And they're thinking, this must be JD's rope. JD must have put this here to help get across the river. So we're going to use this rope as well to help drag ourselves across these rapids, because it's a very violent river. So, if they don't have something to guide them, they would be swept downstream. But what they don't know is that there is bear traps under the water along this rope in this river. And JD's brother ends up stepping on one of these bear traps, and it breaks his leg, and it fucks his leg all up. So they have to reset this guy's leg, and he's freaking out, and he starts to go into this coma-like shock state, where now they have to put this guy on this fucking homemade stretcher, and they're gonna have to carry this dude because they didn't, you don't want to just leave him behind. And that's really the moment in this movie where they realize that somebody is fucking trying to kill us. Somebody is setting all this stuff up and luring us in these certain destinations to take us out for whatever reason. And that's really where the movie kind of takes off. And I don't want to get too in depth about everything that goes on in the film and what ends up being the reason for all this, because I do recommend anybody who, if you haven't seen this is a film that really, man, you should go out and watch. It was a fucking great movie. And it's sad because you really don't hear a whole bunch about rituals. You don't really it kind of flies under the radar, which I think is sad because it's a fucking great movie, man. But anyway, they're all kind of bickering amongst each other, because at this point they're down to 3 guys, and one of the dudes are immobile, and he's in a coma. So really you have 2 guys that's trying to fucking stick together and get themselves out of this situation. And they don't know what's going on. They know somebody's targeting them. They know that somebody's trying to kill them, but they're not sure why. Is this somebody we know? Is this some kind of patient or a family member from a former patient that maybe didn't make it? There's just all kind of speculations on who could be behind this hunting of these poor doctors. They're thinking the whole time, man, what did I do wrong? Why are they after us? And it's just, man, it's a fucking great movie. And it really showcases, like, not only the perseverance of, these doctors, but really, like, fucking demons that they have in their closets and shit. And, just fucking, it does a great job at kind of showcasing how these guys are really kind of going in and out of insanity and stuff. Like, they're kind of battling in their own mind and shit at this event that's happening to them. and they're kind of dealing with different shit and different ideas, along with trying to survive and fucking get out of this jungle alive and shit. And it's just, man, it's just really well done. And I gotta say that fucking Hal Holbrook is fucking badass in this movie. He plays like the head doctor out of this group of guys. He's like the main focus of the story, even though, you know, they're kind of all a part of it. He is pretty much like the Rambo of the group. You know, it's more tailored towards his character and follows kind of him along. And they really do, some fucked up shit happens to these doctors, man. And it's pretty, for the time, you know, it's somewhat graphic, you know, considering it was 78. I think it was filmed, if I'm not mistaken, the movie was filmed in 77 and it was released on VHS and shit in 78. So really the movie's from 1977. And that's kind of like the only bad thing that the movie has going for it, is that it's a little dated. And, you know, the recording and just the method that it was filmed and shit isn't that great. I mean, it's not horrible, you know, but it does have an amateurish feel to the film. Like, you know, it feels like a shot on video movie, basically, that somebody was just following them with a camcorder. But it really doesn't take away from the movie itself, man. It's super enjoyable. You know, I'd highly recommend checking it out. I'd probably give this like a 7 out of 10, man. I really enjoyed it that much. It sucks it took me so long to fucking, you know, seek out and find a copy of this and actually get to watch it, because it was really a great movie. You know, and I'm not going to give away the end of it. It has not really a twist, but it's just an odd reason that, you know, this person is killing these doctors and shit. And it was really done well. And they got some pretty great scenes that, you know, they show one of the guys get burned alive, which is on the box of this particular release. It shows a guy being set on fire on the front. You know, they do some weird crap, man. But definitely you should check it out, dude, if you haven't seen Rituals before. And especially if you're into these kind of movies that's like in the middle of the woods and something's trying to get us. It's almost a borderline slasher type thing, but not really a slasher. But yeah, man, definitely check it out. If you don't have the VHS copy of this, you could pretty much watch this in any flavor, man. There's some DVD releases. I believe Code Red put out a DVD of this. There's a Blu-ray that was released of this movie. You could also catch it streaming if that's your thing. You can watch it free on Tubi. It's also on Amazon Prime, which is nice if you have Amazon Prime and you don't want to you know, deal with commercials and shit, because of course if you watch it on Tubi it's gonna have commercial breaks, but you can watch it on Amazon Prime and it's commercial free. One thing that is kind of weird on Amazon Prime, if you could do it that way, is that it's listed as a 2021 movie, when in reality it is. The Rituals on Amazon Prime is this movie. It's just, it has the wrong date on it. I think it had the stream is listed under the Blu-ray release date and not the actual movie release date. So just if you want to watch that, keep that in mind. But yeah, man, go out, check out Rituals. You won't be let down. It's kind of a slow start, but just hang in there, man. It gets really good. But it's not a super slow start. It's not like you watch half the movie and you're like, what the fuck? You know, it takes a couple minutes to get going, but once it picks up and, you know, these guys start being picked off one by one, you know, it's solid from there, man. It kind of goes at a pretty good pace. But anyway, that's going to be it for this week's podcast. Again, we were checking out Rituals from 1978 or 77, depending on how you want to look at it. Amazing movie. Definitely go out, check this one out. You know, this is going to be one that's going to be, you know, on my watch list. I definitely watch this again from time to time. It's going to find a new home on my back shelf. And yeah, man, thanks for watching. Feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. And until next time, man, you guys take it easy.